Judgment is very important tool. Without judgment, you cannot function in this world. Without the judgment, I cannot see if this is recording. I can see the numbers and there is a red light that is recording. I can judge the distance. I can judge the light. Without that judgment, life is not possible. Even without judging that there is no table here and there is a solid ground, if there was, this would break what is just dropped now, the camera trigger or whatever they call it. The judgment is required on every corner of your navigation into this life. Without judgment, nothing is possible. Judgment is not the issue. The judge is. When it becomes personal, then the suffering cannot be avoided. Judgment itself is very useful and very helpful, because only when you judge that people around me, family around me, religions around me, places that I see people going to, have those places, things, freed those loved ones that you love from fear, from anxiety, from death. If not, then without that judgment, the clarity will not come that this may be not the way to be free. Because without judgment, how can you see that clearly that they still live in fear, they still living in anxiety, suffering? Some old people that you call your parents or relatives or see on videos or in your neighboring, that are fear from dying, fear from old age. They covering themselves with a second mask. They put lot of makeup to hide the natural skin. Not that makeup is not good. It is beautiful when it is used clearly, that it is just a makeup. But when it becomes that I am not good and I should be like young, the comparison, this I that clings to this, which is getting old, suffering is always going to be there. And when you see this clearly, who you really are, then it ends. Otherwise, just by following the path that everyone is following, nothing happens. Much is said today about not judging. Thoughts repeated easily. There should be no judgment. Judgment is wrong. Judgment divides. And in saying this, something very basic is overlooked. Judgment is not the enemy. Without judgment, life cannot function at all. To walk, there must be judgment of the ground. To drive, there must be judgment at every turn. To drink water, there must be judgment that it is safe. To speak, there must be judgment between words. Even to say there should be no judgment is itself a judgment. Even if I cannot pronounce a word properly, I am judging the very that am I able to pronounce it as clearly as I can so it can be understood is judgment, and that judgment is very helpful. So judgment is not the problem. Judgment is the natural movement of mind used for orientation, safety, communication, and survival. There is nothing wrong with this. Where confusion begins when judgment is claimed. When the judgment is no longer just a function, but becomes my judgment. At that moment, a center appears, a judge is born. This judge compares constantly better and worse, right and wrong, success and failure, me and others. And this comparison never rests, because the judge is not judging facts, it is judging itself against life or others. Necessary judgment versus psychological judgment. Necessary judgment says this ground is uneven, this water is boiling, this road is dangerous. It ends there. Psychological judgment says I should be different. They are better than me, I am behind, I must become more. This does not end, it feeds anxiety, suffering. Necessary judgment helps life move. Psychological judgment keeps life in conflict. The confusion comes when these two are mixed and judgment itself is blamed. Why judgment is essential? Without judgment, nothing can be seen clearly. Without judgment, one cannot look at teachings, books, wise men and ask, has fear ended there? Has confusion ended in their life? Has suffering actually dissolved? Has the need to look wise by dressing differently ended? Has the endless struggle for achievement, even within religion, ended? Without judgment, one continues following paths that do not bring freedom simply because they are old, respected, or widely accepted. Parents go to these places, temples, teachers repeat ideas, preachers preach, traditions continue. Judgment is what allows one to see this has not ended fear in their life. This has not removed anxiety or suffering in their life. This has not freed them from all these anxiety and suffering. Without this judgment, one keeps walking a path already filled with suffering. What judgment reveals when used clearly? Judgment allows observation of life as it is. Are the people around me at ease? Are they free from fear of old age? Are they free from fear of illness? Are they free from fear of death? If not, then something essential has not been understood. This is not criticism. This is clarity and simply seeing with that same judgment. Judgment, when clear, does not attack, it illuminates, it opens your eyes. The real issue is the judge. As long as judge appears, the mind assumes judgment must exist. But this is not the judge in court deciding right or wrong, truth or false. This is natural functioning of the mind, labeling and comparing, nothing more. Not every judgment is personal. Some arise simply as part of noticing, recognizing, and responding to the world. Yet personal judgment, the one that binds and divides, exists only when there is a center, a sense of me that claims authority over what is right or wrong. This center says, I judge, I know, I choose, and this center is built from comparison, memory, and fear of ending. As long as this center remains, judgment will always turn inward as anxiety, guilt, or becoming. So, what ends the conflict? The judge does not disappear by trying to remove judgment. That is another judgment. The judge ends when it is clearly seen for what it is, not as name, not as story, not as someone, but just as a movement, memory, repeating, revisiting what was dished out. When judgment is seen without ownership, it remains a tool. Nothing more, nothing less, and in seeing that, the false comparison slowly loses energy, not through effort, not through control, but through seeing clearly, understanding clearly. Judgment is natural. It allows life to function. What creates suffering is the claim, this judgment is mine. When that claim is seen as false, judgment continues, but fear does not. And what remains is simply clarity, moving freely without a judge at the center. Even judging that there are clouds and it is going to rain soon, I am able to take the clothes off the line and put it inside. Without that judgment, the clothes will get wet again, then more effort will be required to dry them. Judgment is not the problem. Judgment helps you to see that what you have been reading, what you have been hearing, have helped you, not helped you like Panadol you take and then tomorrow pain exists? Has it helped that even the body can be taken away but there is no suffering, no fear? That kind of help when nothing remains and what remains cannot be described, that actually what is. And when that is revealed, there no judge remains, only freedom. Freedom from all the issues of your life, freedom from anxiety, suffering, freedom from old age, freedom from trying to be more, because you only can try to be more when these hairs will turn gray. Then I am not good looking, I am bad looking because these grays are there, these teeth are gone. What can you do? This is natural. Even a tomato plant is green, after fruiting, it dissolves into those elements that it arises from. What is the problem in it? There is one simple fact that when you believe that you are this body, you cannot end the suffering. Remains. You have to discover what is actually in the body that functions. Only then, game over.